Hello, everyone. Welcome to Confidence Through Cabaret, the podcast. I am so excited to be here with our special guest. I'm Heather Jean, as always, talking to you all about all things confidence and sharing our voice and sharing our message and sharing our stories. And today I am so pleased to be joined by Jimmy Clare. Jimmy's a motivational speaker, an autism advocate, an author, and founder of Crazy Fitness Guy, which I just cannot wait to hear more about. He's overcome so many obstacles and challenges like bullying and surgeries, and we'll come on and talk about those because, Jimmy shared with me that he's even had 3 surgeries in one day, which is just incredible. So talking about, confidence and overcoming adversity and, really doing what our passion is every day is just so important. So thank you, Jimmy, for being willing to be here and sharing your story. We're so honored that you're with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Crazy Fitness Guy, super excited to hear. Where would you like to start, Jimmy? Shall we start with Crazy Fitness Guy, or shall we start with your story, or what's your...
I think we should start with my story first because then people know of what got me into Crazy Fitness Guy because that's a whole that's a whole nother ballpark of
Um,
crazy.
okay, fair enough. So where does your story begin?
So my story begins when I was getting bullied in elementary school, and I got bullied in many different ways. I got bullied on the bus. I also got Uh, b- I also got bullied all in middle school and they were all different bullies. They were not wasn't just like one group for all of elementary school all the way up to high school. It was like many many of them came and go, and it was it was totally annoying. It took a toll on my mental health, and because uh, and luckily, the bullies on the bus were only there near the on the bus ride home because if it was on the bus ride going to school, I was like, get me off of this hellhole bus. Um, it was annoying. I didn't really tell the bus driver at all what's happening because what is he gonna do? Tell him to knock it off? He's driving the bus. Uh, and tell the teacher, okay, what they're gonna do. They're on the bus. I was like, sure, there's a camera on the bus, but I don't know what that's gonna do. Nothing. Make sure no one's injured, obviously, but uh, other than that, I didn't really have anyone to do, so I tried to ignore it as best as I can. There was there was two. I think there was one school year in elementary school where me and my friend became a safety on the bus, and we had to wear these safe. Uh, I don't know what you call it. It's like a harness or something, and there are different color codes. Like one was like, uh, and what our jobs were supposed to be was to keep everyone sitting in their seats and being polite to each other and whatnot. And there's these 2 girls that just kept on kicking my seat the whole entire time. And so I wanted to become a safety to get them to listen to me. Uh, in fact, becoming a safety was the worst thing I've ever did in my life.
Oh,
And basically, they did quite the opposite of listening. They they basically annoy me and my friend like 1,000 times over and over and over again. I was like, oh, so much for authority.
yeah.
And so fast forward to middle school, I had different bullies slapping my neck, and which is dangerous for me because I have spinal stenosis in my neck. And if I get severe whiplash or any kind of whiplash, I can be paralyzed from the head down. Or maybe it was the waist down. I don't exactly recall, but I know it was something along either of those brutally bad lines. And it took this one principal uh, I think it took him like 100 different reports from me and my mom to finally get into his head, hey, I need to go do something. And it's like, if I was a parent, and this is just me, I don't know, this was a case with my parents because like when they got mad at something about the school, I did not know about it, and maybe they did this, so I don't know. But if that was me and my if I had a kid and the school wasn't doing anything, I would draw a lawsuit against the school. And it's like my kid is going to go to school to learn, and if you're not doing your job, I'll get you fired and whatnot. And because like this principal was like so kind of full of himself a little bit. And I'm not talking about the head principal. She was all business and strictly business. This person was like an assistant principal, and he's like, "There's no bullying going on in the school. Maybe you step out of your 2 by 4 from office." And it's like this office like was literally a broom closet size office. And it's like, well, maybe we got to get out of your 2 by 4 office. Maybe you would see the bullying. Uh, and it's like, and maybe check out the security cameras while you're at it too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't never said any of that to that person whatsoever, to the principal whatsoever. But in the back of my mind, it's like, you're a cocky person.
Yeah, and as a child, you kind of can't because you're not expected to advocate for yourself against adults. They're supposed to be doing their job, as you say.
Yeah, and it's like, and at least the head principal, she always walked around the halls periodically, and like, and if she saw something, she suspend that person or she tell them to knock it off and whatnot. And so she at least got out of the office. And to be honest, the assistant principals also got out of the office, but not as much as the head principal. And or at least that's what I saw when I
Mm.
was going from class to class, because you don't know what's happening when you're in class, but that's what I saw. So I could be totally wrong, but that's what I got
Yeah.
when I saw it. And it's like, this person's always in his office. And it's like, I get it that he has a job, but you know, and it's like, you have a job out here too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Is it kind of doesn't matter, if things were continuing, it doesn't matter whether they were in or out of their office. If you're still experiencing the bullying, whatever they were doing or weren't doing, it clearly wasn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what impact did those years of bullying have on you?
Well, it got me really like pissed off. It made me not want to go to school anymore. It made me There's days where my mom literally had to drag me out of bed because it's like, why am I going to school again? It's like, because you need to learn. Learn what? Does he keep getting bullied? Okay, cool. I'll stay at home. And
Yeah, and isn't it interesting because we often see education. I'm here in the UK, and certainly it's a very exam based culture, and so you have to go to school to keep up with the content so that you can write the exams. That's kind of it, and really what you were learning by your mom not letting you stay in bed is that you get up and you face the adversaries and you face those difficulties, and you probably learned so much more than any subjects taught you.
yeah, pretty much. And and so what I basically did when I got into high school, after getting bullied so many times throughout my childhood and public school life and everything, I got totally annoyed. So one night, me and my dad were watching TV. I was nearly obese for my age group back in middle school and high school, and I was like pretty much near the borderline of being obese for my age group, and like the doctors always kind of just like, Jimmy, you need to lose weight and whatnot. I got tired of hearing that over and over again. Pretty soon I was bring the recorder to a tape recorder to my to my doctor's office and tell him, say, here, it's just speaking to that, so next time when I come in, I can just play it to you. Obviously, I didn't say that either, but I was like thinking this, it's like, thanks, doc. And it's like, uh, I always get tired of some of the doctors who kind of like a bunch of hypocrites a little bit when they're, it's like, you need to lose some weight, and yet they're kind of like heavy themselves. And it's like, you first, doc.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a do as I say, not as I do kind of a situation.
Yeah.
So
And
you're
then,
getting like messages from all these people who are supposed to be supporting you and helping you and advocating for you and teaching you, being role models really, and and doesn't sound like there were very many of them doing that.
no. And so basically, me and my dad were watching this commercial. We saw this info commercial for P90X from Beachbody,
I remember
and
those.
uh, and so I lost 30 pounds with P90X. And when I started, when I got to the halfway point, I started seeing muscles and everything that I didn't know I had. And I mean, I knew something was holding my body together, but I just didn't see any of it. And so when I saw the muscles coming in and everything, I was like, I'm ready to face those bullies. And uh, I in my math class, uh, I saw the bullies, the two, at least two of the bullies or three of the bullies were at least in my math class, and I got annoyed because they they weren't just picking on me; they were also picking on my friends at this point. And one of my friends happens to be in a wheelchair, and these the school was not made for being wheelchair friendly. Like some of the doors were not wide enough. And she had an electric wheelchair with a like droid stick handle on it, and you could barely fit it through these doors. And I was so and so every time when she bumped into the door by accident, they always snickered and everything. It's like, I like to see you drive that thing to the door. And it's like, hell, I don't know how she gets out of it because of the door. And it's like, I know I couldn't line it up that perfectly. Uh, I was like, try fitting a freaking scooter or a car in there. Don't think it can fit.
Wow. Wow. So you're having all these adults in your life who are not doing their job and advocating for you, and you're advocating for your friends.
Yeah. And so basically, in math class, even though my math teacher like told them these bullies to knock it off, stop doing this, they still kept doing it. And so, in fact, and most times, like he sent the bullies down to the principal's office. They get into trouble, but obviously they don't really care if they got into trouble because it's like, oh, great, I'm out of my math class, or if if they get suspended, oh, it's a vacation from school. Uh, so I, I reported I reported each of the bullies over and over again, and what's funny, that head principal from my middle school came over to the high school and took over from the head position over there. And when I reported each bully over and over again uh, um, uh, to her, she finally expelled one of them, and word got out, and so that still wasn't good enough for the bully, so they tried again with me. So I stood up in my math class and yelled at both of them in their faces and told them to leave me the hell alone and my friends. And so they tried one more time, and uh, this time I got like the next two like suspended and everything, and it was like we don't shouldn't piss this person off anymore. And and after seeing all the muscles on me, it's like I really should not do this. They want to become my friends, and it's like no thanks, I don't want to become your friend.
Yeah. 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 Fair enough. Fair enough. So exercise and the program P90X is really changed and helped you pivot in your whole life, really.
Yeah, and it basically has helped me just change what was going on. It helped me gain confidence and build confidence, and just seeing the weight loss, it helped me feel better about myself, and just to show them is like, you know, to all the other bullies, it's like one day someone like me is going to turn themselves around, and you should run the other direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you keep going? Like what did you do? So you're 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 being given all these messages and lack of support. And then you've got a program. I mean, I remember the infomercials on P90X. It was hardcore. How what makes you keep going with something like that? And obviously you're starting to feel better and that's helpful, but I mean, we all at the best of times, under the best of conditions, we struggle to keep going with our fitness regime, and yet you've gone through this, what at the time was the most grueling program you could possibly take on, and you're seeing that through. How did you keep going?
Well, just by seeing the different numbers on the scale each time when I weighed myself, and just seeing the definition in the mirror, and just being able to feel better, and like I had a really bad complexion on my skin. Like I had pimples on the side of my face, like it looked like a rash.
Mm.
And my brother, like, it's funny of him is that I mean, not funny of him, but sometimes, like, me and my family members like to really just like to joke around with each other. And so, like, one day when we were getting ready together, and we share a combined joint bathroom, like there was two sinks and everything. And so we were just getting ready, and like he's like, "Jimmy, your face is all red on the side." And it's like, "Well, thanks for noticing. I really appreciate it." And it's like it was like pimple on top of pimples, and so once I started losing the weight, I knew I had to change my eating habits and everything. And so then my face started getting cleared up, and it's funny, fast forward real quick to today. Now my brother is asking me for advice. And it's like, interesting how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah, but such a cool lesson to think, okay, so you do one thing and it changes the scales, and then you keep, that makes you keep going. And then that changes how you look in the mirror or how you feel, and then you keep going. And then it's just, and all these cumulative things add up to helping you to feel confident, because confidence is it comes from momentum, right? So you just taking those little steps and keep going is such an important message.
Yeah. And like I also notice that I just feel a lot happier with who I am. It's not uh and like I also keep challenging myself by I've done like I think like 8 or 9 different programs on Beachbody on Demand now,
Mhm.
and I completed them. I completed all of them so far. Well, not all of the programs so far, but I mean, I completed like at least 8 or 9 of them. And I also, and so even though that challenges me still, I took it up another notch. And when I was younger, I used to do a lot of karate. And when I was growing up in New Jersey, and then when I, I really missed it when I moved to Pennsylvania, and so I found a sensei years ago. And even though I had to stop for like a few years, I think it was like 8 or 9 or 10 years after getting my red belt in karate when I was younger. It's funny. I found my same sensei again, and uh, uh, same one I found when I moved to Pennsylvania, and I've been with him ever since.
Wow.
And I'm almost 3 belts away from where I last went uh, when I last stopped, and so I had to start all over again. So I'm currently at my green belt now, And I was like, 3 more belts and I'd be back where I was.
Amazing.
Uh,
Amazing. Amazing. And karate or any of the martial arts are such a great sort of discipline and such a great kind of mind body connection experience. So it's fantastic that I mean, I'm guessing that P90X and all of the exercise and all of the things you've explained kind of took you to that place of being able to feel confident enough to want to do karate and want to keep going and you know and keep developing with it because it is such a real mind body connection, isn't it?
yeah, and I think the I think the reason why I wanted to go back to karate is because I knew I needed to keep challenging myself, and it's like, and I'm not saying like none. I'm not saying that the workouts on Beachbody on Demand is not challenging enough. It is challenging,
Hmm.
but I I was when I was in karate when I was younger, there was only 2 belts in each color system, and and I was like literally 2 belts off of a black belt,
Wow.
and I kicked myself when I left, and I left on good terms with my sensei, but he knew at that time there were certain rules that I couldn't do because of my spinal stenosis, like. Back then, I needed to grapple, and my
Mm,
doctor said, "No, you can't grapple because of your neck. Grappling's like wrestling," and so I couldn't wrestle, and so I couldn't progress anymore. And so I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna just keep going to karate, and can't get any more stripes, can't get any more belts. What's the point?" So
yeah.
I took 10 years off, and and I didn't know if I was going to come back or not. And when I saw my sensei back in 2013, actually no, 2014, uh, he told me I would have to start all over again. And at first I said like, nah, I don't know. And so then 3 years later, 2017, beginning of 2017, I started all over again as I need to go back. I was like, I miss it so much. I was
Yeah.
like, when you basically after doing so many different combinations, it's kind of built into your mind, and it's like I miss every second of it because it's not just karate that you're doing. uh, The whole my sensei has built a community uh, at his dojo, and so everyone's friendly with each other. People asking how you are. People people recognize you by name. They don't just like, "Hey, you," or and like sure they have me in their system and database and their computer and on their and on their login sheets and whatnot, but they don't even need the login sheets to know who I am. Like
Yeah.
there's even some partners that I've never partnered with. There's like, "Hey, Jimmy," and it's like, who are you again? And it's like I had to work with somebody like over and over again and keep seeing that person's face for me to remember that person's name. But these people just like, hey, Jimmy, and it's like, I don't think I've ever worked with you. Who are you? And I obviously, never like ever say that to those people, but it's like,
Yeah.
hmm,
Yeah, but I mean, community is also is another really important thing for us. So, you know, that we have a sense of, you know, a place where we belong, where we have a sense where people respect the rules, and you know, your school experience was a very different kind of community, and certainly doesn't sound like a particularly supportive community compared to your karate experience.
yeah,
So it's so great that you were able to find that kind of community, and you've gone on to create your own community as well and your own connections. You want to share
yeah.
with us all the things that you do?
Where do I start? So I started Crazy Fitness Guy pretty much uh, April 12th of 2017. So just a few months in at karate. And the reason why I started it was because I had I was going when I first started school back in college in 2015. uh, I wanted to become a personal trainer. However, but that changed quite a bit throughout the years, and because I jumped around 5 different majors, and that was one too many for my parents' liking. But I told them, it's like, be, I don't want to continue with something that I was not going to be happy in life with. And at least I'm doing it at a community college and not at, uh, I mean, I'm not saying anything is wrong with community college, but I mean, at least it's a community college, is not just a university, and then I'm paying a crap load of money and just switching willy nilly. I'm, and it's like, yeah, I'm not saying community college is cheap, but I mean, it's more affordable uh, than regular university and whatnot. And so I changed 5 different majors, and the major I finally picked was media studies because I want to be a motivational speaker. And because, after my first interview that I had for Crazy Fitness Guy, and it's funny, it's on my YouTube channel. I don't think many people really liked it because because no one really has watched that, or a few people watched it, but um, I was really shy in that interview. You could barely even hear me. I was like, and
Wow.
I was like, hell, I can't even hear myself. And it's like, I don't even know what I said. And but then, like, the reason why I leave it up on my channel is because then people can see. It's like, wow, he went from this quiet to he won't shut the hell up. Uh,
That's amazing, though, and that's so. And talking about motivational speaker, it's not just like you know being able to tell people. It's actually being able to show people that you've lived it and that you understand, and that they can track your journey. That's such a great thing to do. So, what is Crazy Fitness Guy then? Where does this come? What is it about?
So the reason why I created Crazy Fitness Guy was because I've seen a lot of different websites talk about health and fitness and whatnot, and some people said, it's like, so basically Crazy Fitness Guy is just another health and wellness website. And it's like, if that's what you think, no, you're absolutely wrong. It's
Mm.
not another health and wellness website. Where what my website is geared towards live is motivating people to live a more healthy lifestyle, and helping them to be motivated to eat healthier, live healthier, and just everything involved healthy living. Because, like, you see all these health and wellness platforms and other websites that talk about, hey, uh, they might go over a little bit of motivation, but then it's right back into, you should do these exercises for abs or biceps and whatnot. And then really didn't want to, like, replicate any of that. And I was like, and pretty much a lot of the workout programs I've done on Beachbody and on demand and everything, pretty much a lot of the programs have similar exercises. They might vary differently by the name, or they might modify it in a certain way for the modifier or in the video, or they might have a different unique name to it, or they might have made the move a little bit harder, some shape and some variant. But pretty much all is there's only so many exercises out there. I was like, no, I can't do this. No. And I was like, I'll just we really don't need one more health and wellness website out there. I was like, because pretty much every angle is covered, and so it's like, well, where can I come to this table and make myself different? So I was like, okay, I want to basically my audience is people who have extra challenges, and for people and for people who don't have extra challenges. So I try to cater to both because then it gives me more content to create and whatnot. And which doesn't mean more work for me. I mean, I like to have all creativity opportunities because then it's like, okay, I won't get bored of this and I won't sound redundant because nobody wants to sound redundant.
Yeah.
And so I created the crazy fitness guy because I don't think people, I don't think I've seen many health and wellness websites providing motivation. It's like they might have that one or two, maybe three articles at most about motivation, but they don't tell you how to get started or on how to be motivated to start. And I was like, I'm gonna go fill that gap.
Mm. Nice. And you can, because you've lived the adversity and you've lived all of those difficulties. So you can really relate to what people might be feeling in order to get started. Even if their situation was different, you understand how, you go from not feeling great and people not supporting you to, you've done it and you've earned it,
Yeah.
so that's a very motivating thing, and it shows because this is your 79th recording for podcast.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm so confident that you'll reach 100 by the end of the year because you've still got another sort of nearly 7 months to go. So that's incredible. But that's showing that, your message is important, and you can rise from something that was so difficult and such a terrible time to being able to overcome those obstacles and do something to help others. I mean, that's just so inspiring that you not only come through it and then live your life, but that you want to help other people do that as well. That's incredible.
Yeah. And plus I've like I also I forgot to mention I'm also on the autism spectrum, so I wanted to so I think that's what also makes Crazy Fitness Guy unique because and again, I could be wrong, but I don't know how many people on the autism spectrum out there who have their own website and who's talking about what it's like to be on the autism spectrum or being autistic or living health, being a healthy, living a healthy living lifestyle through autistic eyes is my tagline.
I mean, and it's a great one. It's an absolutely great one because, you're serving so many people, not just people who are on a similar journey to you, but also people who have, kind of a parallel, their own adversity, their own obstacles. I'll be honest with you, Jimmy. I was having a not great morning, and I was thinking. I mean, I definitely wanted to do this podcast, but I was thinking, I've got so many things. How am I going to, overcome them all? And then I listen to you and I go, no, I didn't really. Those were that, we have those days. And then we come across someone like Jimmy and we go, actually, you know what? I really can do this, because motivation is willingness to put energy into something. And if you can do that, then we can all do that. I mean, that's just such a fantastic message to feeling uplifted and confident and doing it anyway.
I definitely have those days as well. Like there's some days where uh that some days where some stuff that not going right for me either on my website or either on or working with a company because I work with many different companies because of different tools that I use, and when stuff is not working I'm like, can I just throw this all away?
Yeah.
But then the reason why I always say the answer is always no is because I spent way too much money, and I've been waiting for my trademark from the USPTO for 16 freaking months, and I'm like, any day now, nope, and
But it'll happen.
yeah, and it's fun. I even said to my parents, "It's like I'm so lucky that I have a lawyer to help me with all this because if I didn't, I think Uncle Sam stole my money because it's a great scam if they. I was like, hey, you give us $1,000 and we'll give you a trademark by the time you die.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Great
That's
scam.
all. But you have your website, which is crazyfitnessguy.com.
Yep,
And then we can find out from there where your podcast is.
yep. And it's called
And
Crazy Fitness Guy Healthy Living Podcast.
amazing. And that's just anywhere where you get your podcasts.
Yeah, pretty much every single platform. And I always like to say to people, if you can't find my podcast on your platform, send me a message. I'll put my podcast on that platform.
Amazing. Amazing. So we can get on crazyfitnessguy.com, we can get your where your podcast is. We can find out where you're appearing on other podcasts, I'm assuming. We can find out what you're doing, what you're posting. And you said to me that your like if we just Google Crazy Fitness Guy, then we're going to come up with all of the socials and all of the
Yeah,
platforms.
yeah. It's like uh, when I created Crazy Fitness Guy, I I knew I wanted it to be a brand instead of just being all about me. And so uh, basically what I did, I created separate profiles for me and Crazy Fitness Guy because when I was trying to operate just under Crazy Fitness Guy's uh, social media platforms and just sharing milestones, no one give a rat's ass.
Mm.
And uh, and it's funny how marketing works because people's like, I was like, oh, another brand tooting its own horn and whatnot. But then when I share it on my own platforms and it's like, yeah, Crazy Fitness Guy just reached 4 years old and whatnot, people's like, oh, congratulations. It's like, oh, now you care. And it's like,
Amazing, amazing, and it is. I mean, it's a lot of extra work because I'm in that same boat with having my own profiles, and then Confidence Through Cabaret, and then I also have Attitudes Training, which is my corporate business to business world, and so it's a lot of commitment to show up each day and manage all of those things. And I don't know how you do it because you have so much going on between appearing on podcasts, having your own podcast, having your website, having all your socials. You just must never sleep.
well, I will, I would love to say I'd never sleep, but that'd be a lie. You know, if you think that, if you think I do is a lot, there's this one person that I met along the way who helped me, told me she actually helped me get my name in the New York City Times Square, and she told me this company about she's running that there was running a campaign during this pandemic, and everyone she told me about this company running this campaign, uh, just promoting other people, like promote like sending a message to their loved ones on social media and taking their social media that post on Instagram and showcasing it on um, Times Square billboard. And so I knew some of my friends and family members hate when I tag them in posts and whatnot, and I didn't want to be that person who the family members hated. And so I was like, okay, what can? And I was like, I'm gonna promote my brand. And she's like, Jimmy, you gotta promote your message and get it out there. And I was like, millions of people will see it. And it's like, okay, let's do it. What I was like, what do I have to lose? An Instagram post? Oh well. And so the company messaged me and it's like, here you go. You've been featured in New York City Times Square. And it's like, no freaking way.
Amazing. Amazing. Congratulations. That is so, I mean, it's just such a fun journey, isn't it? To just find all of these little moments where there's just victory and and all of the efforts just pay off because you people see you and we always talk about taking up space and that need to own our space and not be hiding and not be for you to be a motivational speaker, you can't be hiding, and I love that you're sharing that you don't take down the videos that didn't go so well in the beginning. You're like, I'm here, and that's motivating. It's not just motivating by what you're saying, but it's motivating by your journey and what you're sharing and how you keep on showing up. It's incredible.
And it's really funny. There was this person in my college in one of my semesters. I'll never forget. I forget his name, but I'll never forget what he said to me. And because one, I think when he said this to me, like we were having this icebreaker in the room, and we were talking about, hey, and like, so I introduced myself, and I told him what I do and whatnot, and his first question to me, uh, I was like, how can you make money off of a website? And I'm like, okay, one, how's that even a question? And it's like, have you heard of Amazon? Have you heard of Walmart, Google, and Apple? And it's like, yes, they're established brands, but it's possible. And it's
But
like,
Amazon wasn't an established brand, right? They started with books.
yeah,
They
uh,
didn't start with everything. Now they're doing food, but they didn't start with everything. If
yeah.
they had tried to do everything all at once, nobody would have. Everybody would have said, "Well, who's Amazon? Why would I buy off you?" But they started, and then they built and built and built.
Yeah, but well, uh, what's funny about the guy though, like he got under my skin quite a bit when he said that because because it's like how's that even a question? It's like the better question would have been asked is like, how can you personally make money off of a website? And it's like that's the question. That's the golden ticket right there.
Yeah,
And uh like and it kind of hurt my feelings as well like because he kind of snickered right in my face, and so I used that as momentum and it's like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And like he was so kind of a kind of jerkish person a little bit too, because he's like, well, I work at a gym and at least I make consistent money. I work behind the desk. And and again, there's no, I like to the people who work behind the desk and whatnot. If that's what you want to do, go right ahead.
yeah,
But you want, don't shoot my dreams down because I don't shoot your dreams down.
exactly.
And and like this guy, I wish I stayed in touch with him just to showcase that I've been uh, on New York City Square. Uh, Times Square, New York City's billboard, because it's like, how's that gym going for you?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. And everybody gets to have their own decisions, but I don't know. I never understand. So when people try and use their own self-limiting beliefs to limit other people, you know,
yeah,
I don't think I can. What he's saying is he doesn't think he can make money off of a website, or he doesn't want to make money off, or whatever his deal is, and so he wants to limit you by his own standards, which doesn't make any sense.
yeah. And it's like, I kind of, it's like, if stayed in touch with him just to showcase it on social media, I would, in my opinion, if I had the money, I would literally run an ad like 24/7 on social media, just like, Jimmy Clare's been in future in New York City Times Square, and just keep popping it up on his timeline and just just to annoy the hell out of him.
You know, it really is true what people say about the best form of revenge is to go and have your own life and make a success of that. And that because that's more satisfying than anything else. Because you don't strike me as the kind of person who would want anybody else to feel bad, you know.
No, definitely not. And like, and what's kind of cool though, if you Google my name and if you Google Crazy Fitness Guy, like Crazy Fitness Guy outranks Richard Simmons' Wikipedia page,
Wow.
and
Cool.
my own profile. Like, there's there's UK soccer player who's retired, and his name was Jimmy Clare or James Clare or whatever, and his Wikipedia page like used to outrank me, and it's funny, like over the years when people first started following Crazy Fitness Guy, it didn't even rank anywhere close to Richard Simmons' Wikipedia page. It took like 3.5 years to finally outrank his Wikipedia page. But then when I started focusing on branding for myself, it only took me a few months to outrank Jimmy Clare. And I was like, yes, finally.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so Jimmy, I have a few questions for you, which I'd like to ask each of the guests because, you know, as I told you, I joined the kind of the cabaret world and started doing, you know, dance and movement because I didn't feel comfortable to show up as myself. So I'm good at showing up in, my conferences as my work persona, but I didn't feel comfortable with being in a stage environment and people, because you have to be okay with people not being okay with you. And I admire that so much about you, that you're just getting on with it anyway. And so many of us kind of worry about what will everybody else think, and all of those things. And you've been through those and seen the other side. So if you were going on stage and you're going to do some sort of an act, what one prop would you want to have with you? You can take anything you want.
A microphone.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And are you singing or speaking, or what's your thinking?
Speaking.
Okay, nice, nice. And if you had to pick a stage name besides Crazy Fitness Guy, because that's way too easy, what would your stage name be?
I would pick my name.
Okay, so you're gonna be Jimmy Clare.
Yeah.
Or are you gonna be Jimmy?
I would be Jimmy or Jimmy Clare.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. And I have one last question. What is the favorite thing that you've learned, your favorite lesson?
My favorite lesson is to not listen to all the naysayers, and because it's their own limiting beliefs of how they feel about themselves. And uh, I've learned to just not listen to them anymore, because if it's one person out of the bigger picture of who I'm reaching,
Mm.
so be it. And like, if you don't like what my content is, guess it's not for you then.
And it can't be for everybody. That's absolutely important for us all to remember. Is we're out there, we're doing our best, we're reaching our audience, and we don't have to change everybody to change the world or to make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Get in touch with Jimmy. Go on crazyfitnessguy.com. Go find out what's going on. Check out the podcast. Check out the content. Go check out the YouTube channel. I speak all the time to people who are aspiring motivational speakers, and they'll say, how do I get started? And it sounds like we can just track the journey and just have a look at where you started and what your journey is. And if you go on crazyfitnessguy.com, then you'll be able to find all of the content.
Yeah, and I kid you not, if you scroll back on my blog page to like 2017, or around 2017 and 2019, you'll see the worst posts I ever made in my life. And I kid you not, like, they were terribly worded. They were, I mean, like, sure, they were in sentences, but it was not optimized for Google. It was not optimized for my readers. It was terrible research. It was terrible everything. It was so short. I remember I had this post that was very short, that I couldn't even put 2 ads in the post, and it's like, well, that's even terrible.
Yeah.
And I still have them up today, because I'm eventually gonna revamp those posts. But since it's taken me quite a while, I was like, I'll challenge anyone to go back to compare those blog posts, that time frame of blog posts, and compare it to now. Let me know which one you like, because I think the current stuff is much, much better than that crap whatever I made back then.
Yeah, but also it's your journey, right? That's inspiring in itself, that you made those improvements over the years. And you'll reach people that in different ways. You'll reach people with your latest blog post, but you'll also reach people by being inspired that you stuck with it, and you've learned and you've grown, and you're still proud of where you started, because we all start somewhere.
Yeah. Uh, And eventually I'm hoping to revamp all those posts, which I'm going through one by one by one.
Oh, but I really hope that you leave the originals up.
Well, the reason I'm not leaving the originals up is because the the ideas that I had for them, I'm just kind of revamping them because they're not helping my site in any which way and form. And it's
Mm,
not that it's not that I don't want to showcase them. It's not that at all. It's just that, like what I've learned through SEO and stuff that I learned along the way is that if you have old content that is not helping you, it's either improve them or get rid of them. So I was like, okay, I'm going to improve them and not get rid of them. Uh, which you can also say improving is like getting rid of them, but it's not like I could, in my opinion, I could easily take the easy way out and just delete all of them and continue forward. But I was like, I'll just go backwards. And it's like, it's still new content once I revamp it.
yeah,
And it's
it
like,
is.
it's like, it's not like I just, yeah, it's not like I just deleted anything. It's like, hey, yeah, here we go.
Yeah. No, no, you're right. You're right. And it's still obviously valid information. So why would you not want to reshare it?
Yeah.
Jimmy, I have loved chatting with you. It's just your story is inspiring and motivating. And I was thinking, oh, shall I do my exercise class tonight? Nah, I can't be bothered. And I will now, which is good. One step at a time, one little bit at a time, it all adds up. And I have loved learning that and hearing your story to inspire me and all of our listeners. So thank you
Uh,
so much.
Definitely. And to end with one piece of advice, we always have what I've learned about something for myself during like I've been taking a week off from making new content this week, but what I've learned throughout the through this week and last week when I was wrapping up stuff for this week, I mean last week, so I can have a relaxing week this week. I said to myself, it's like, you know what? There's always going to be something that we entrepreneurs always needs to do. Like uh, in my mind, I could like I see all these people on social media and whatnot. It's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and it's like, yeah, and it's like I decided to take a week off because I needed to take a break, and which is great. And so my point is that we always there's always something we could be doing. We could there's always something that needs to be done. And so take the time to go work out and because if you're not healthy, how can you help other people?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, people in my community will be well aware I am not very good with self-care. I'm a huge believer, I'm a huge advocate of it, but I'm terrible for always filling the diary with other things. And you're right, there will always be things to do. So take the time for yourself to do what you need to do what you want to do. And it's great to hear that you're taking a week off, and it's making me go, what would happen if I took a week off? Probably the world wouldn't fall apart. Social media would not miss me for a week.
And like traffic, I'm still getting traffic to my website, even though Google Search Console says I was like you're losing traffic, and it's like, well, funny thing is, my Google Analytics says I'm still getting traffic, so I guess you're wrong, Google.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You'll have so much more in your well to be able to come back strong, having had some time. That's an important message.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing your story and your messages and your lessons. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is Heather. I'm reminding you that it is your body, your world, and your stage. Take up space and own it. Bye for now.